Hi everyone, welcome to today's chat with our Quilters planner ambassador, Kitty Wilkin. Thanks for coming, Kitty.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm so glad that we get to sit down and chat. As being old friends, this is just a wonderful way to catch up. We've been working on the planner for so many years. Like I was thinking about this, next year's going to be our 10-year anniversary. And
Oh,
we've
that's wild.
been
It is,
together
isn't it?
doing this for 10 years, like almost 10 years, 9 years. It's kind of crazy.
It is totally crazy. It's
Because
been fun.
I'm pretty sure like we started the talks with Stephanie Palmer, who founded the planner in 2020 or 2015, because we planned way far in advance before that came out. But
Right,
yeah,
right. Right,
can you
because
believe
the
that?
first planner was 2016, right? I
Right?
think.
Yep.
That was the very first one that was just like
Yeah.
paper.
It
And
was
then
all paper.
2017, the start of pictures and patterns and
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Wow.
year I should go grab it. I have it on my shelf. That year, yeah, it was a very thin cardstock cover. It was a
Yep. Blue.
wire bound
Yeah, I
blue
still have it.
cover,
Mhm.
little tiny tabs that were not very sturdy, like all one bank of dividers, um, all black and white inside.
Yep.
And the other thing that I thought that was so interesting, that year we did pull out art. We had a gal that Kelsey Bowes who illustrated a couple of pieces
Hmm.
that we had perforated that people got to pull out to use as art in their sewing room. Anyway, I've actually reached out to Kelsey recently to get the rights for that original artwork, so we might bring that back. So
Oh, that's
yeah,
exciting.
that's kind of fun.
That'll be
Maybe we'll
fun
do
for a
that for
10-year
a 10
anniversary.
year
I love that.
anniversary. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they're all quilty related. So I actually have them hanging up in the hallway here at my studio, and it's really fun to pass them every day and think about that. But anyway, if I feel like we've come so far since then.
We have. It's been a journey for sure.
It's been a journey. And Kitty, you've been doing the photography and consulting with me on patterns and helping listen to all of the ideas that we've had over the years. And you've been such an integral part. You did social media for many years. And then this last year, you basically came up with the entire concept for our Sew Along quilt, which I have hanging up here behind me. I'm trying to see if I can get it lined up a little bit better. Everybody can
There we
see it. If
go.
you've been following along some of our other episodes, you know that we started with the bird block, and every month I've met with each ambassador to talk about their design of their block and how they created their version of it, how we colored it, and anyway, it was quite fun. When we first had the idea to do this quilt, you and I sat down and colored it together. But tell us a little bit about your original ideas for the concept of this quilt and how it kind of came together.
I'd love to. So I remember thinking about sampler quilts in general. Like I feel like they are an amazing way to get the aesthetic and designs from a variety of designers. So it's like a great community building thing. But sometimes, depending on how it comes together, it can be hard for them to be fully visually cohesive. And
Mm-hmm.
so we were talking about ways to make sure that the quilt, no matter what designs people wanted to share, whatever block designs they came up with, would have some sort of parameters to help them flow visually and to help, I don't know, just kind of guide the design a little bit and design and guide the overall aesthetic of the finished sampler. And so
Yeah.
I have been playing with um like a couple of years ago. I love samplers and block of the months, and I very rarely make all of the blocks because life.
Life.
And so for a
Yeah.
long time, I would beat myself up over it, like, well, I can't make the sampler. And so a few years ago, I decided to forget all that, say permission granted. You can still make a beautiful sampler quilt with the blocks you made. And so that quilt that I made from a small fraction of the blocks from a different sew along kind of was the springboard idea for coming up with the guide for this year's sampler for the Quilter's Planner.
Hmm.
So the idea was to begin with the center block. I love the center block that you have, and I love the
Yeah.
directionality, the way like the movement. It really directs everyone's attention to all the sampler blocks, which are the showcases from each designer.
Yeah. Yvonne Fuchs did that and she did such a wonderful job with all of those flying geese and yeah,
Oh
very
yeah.
happy.
Yeah. It works really well for its purpose, which is like kind of the anchor. Like that's the anchor of
Yeah.
the quilt. And so beyond that, I was thinking of different ways quilts become cohesive. And one is color flow. One is, block directionality, movement, that kind of thing. And trying to think of ways to make broad guidelines, but still let each designer have full creative license to come up with whatever they wanted
Right.
to come up with.
Yeah.
And so that's where we landed on the big block in the center. That was kind of the anchor block. And then if you look at,
Am
we
I
have,
pointing up the right way?
you could see, yeah, we could
Yeah.
obviously see the color flow. We went with a
I feel
rainbow
like I
because
need to get out of
you
the way.
can't go wrong. Like, I know, yeah, you're good, you're good.
There you go.
Um, I love, like, I love a rainbow flow. I feel like you can't go wrong with
Yeah.
a well
Yeah.
curated rainbow. And so to have the color flow be one thing that's cohesive, but also the directionality was the other thing we looked at. And
Hmm.
so if you'll notice in the quilt on, there's the four blocks along the top and the four blocks along the bottom and the two on the sides. And the corner blocks, the guidance that we gave the designers, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is what we told designers is
Yeah.
like, for the corner block designers, we said, please create a block that has diagonal directionality. So the movement is going outward at a diagonal. And that
Yep.
way we could rotate them and that gives us that outward movement on the corners.
Yep.
And then
Hmm.
the other blocks, the ones that are kind of in the middle, have more linear directionality.
Yeah.
So the design is not necessarily symmetrical or anything like that, but if you look at the block, your eye is moving in a linear up and down way or side to side way instead of
Yeah.
diagonal.
And
And so,
and
yeah,
we have
I
a
think,
couple of them that do lean towards diagonal like we have this one
yeah,
and a couple others that could be changed depending on their rotation, which
yeah,
oh, and Kirsty's and anyway, so I love the fact that there's some flexibility if you want to play with the layout. If you want to take, maybe say you want to do just a bunch of those in
mhm,
the different directions, or just the arrows, or just the bird. Um, and yeah, I feel like, yeah, there, as I have said with each ambassador that I chat with about their block, I can totally see an entire quilt made up or featuring just their block because they're all
yeah,
so strong in their own way.
absolutely. Yeah, and that's another great way to customize too. I know, everyone has favorites and they're all beautiful, but if there's a block that you love, you could make four of it and have
Yeah.
that be, like instead of four along the sides, you could have your four corners and then one block in between. And so that takes
Hmm.
out four, like that's four less blocks than all of them. That gives you
Yeah.
4 months for life to get in the way. And we would still have a stunning quilt that is cohesive and comes
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely fun to play with that and think about where you would move things.
Right. Right. Or any of those blocks, just a 2 by 2. I mean, can you imagine that or, on point having just a four-pointed compass? Um, so
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
so much flexibility. It's very exciting. And let's talk a little bit about that, the color flow. That was such a fun day when you and I sat together over Zoom. We had Illustrator up. I had all of the blocks and their pieces, and we knew that we wanted to stick with our 15 colors, which I'll come back to the planner. So each of our dividers in the planner are the 15 colors are based on the 15 Kona colors that we picked a couple years ago. That are kind of our signature color scheme, our rainbow. And we had all the, had all a swatch of all the colors laid out in front of me, and you had yours on your end too, I think. And we kind of figured, okay, which fabric should be in which spot. And it was really fun to sit there and play with color placement, trying to get the flow
Yes.
correct.
Yes. And it is. And if you'll notice in the blocks, if you look at them as they go around,
Yeah.
when you're in the pink section has orange in it also
A little bit.
because it's
Hmm.
flowing into orange. And then the orange has some pink too. But then you move down and the yellow has a little bit of orange. And so it's
Get my head out of the way again.
kind of like a dance where you're like stepping a little bit forward and a little bit back in each block to have a touch of what comes next and what came before.
Right.
Um,
Like the
but
little
I love that
yellow here
play.
in
Yeah,
Kirsty's. Yep.
exactly. Yep. And so you're like flowing through the colors in a way that helps them look good together instead of being like,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Such a fun pattern, and I'm excited to see people's versions of it, their take. I know one gal is working on one with a dark background, which I can't wait to see how that
I always
turns
love
out.
those.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm really excited to see as people post. So as a reminder, you can go to the Quilters Planner community group that we have, post pictures in there, share them on Instagram, and just tag us on there so we can be sure to share them with everybody. But yeah, I can't wait to see how they all come together this month and moving forward too, because goodness knows there's no deadline. You don't have to get it done by a
That
certain
is,
time.
yeah, and
Yeah.
if you participated and sewed like 5 blocks, this is your
Sew it up.
friendly encouragement to put them up on the design wall and play and say like,
Yeah,
oh, all right, I made 5 blocks. What can I fill in? Like, do I want to make more of this one? Was this one really fast to sew? I fully admit when I did my first permission granted quilt, there was one block that I made duplicates of because I loved the aesthetic, and there was one block I did duplicates of because it was fast. And I was like, you know what? That's okay. It's
easy.
okay
Yeah,
if you're like, I want this to be a full quilt. I'm gonna pick the easiest block for me, and it's different for everyone. Like
yeah,
different techniques are different. Like some people might love foundation paper piecing, and some people might be much faster at traditionally pieced. So pick what works for you. But you're
right.
allowed to do that too, and then
Yeah.
you'll have a quilt. And
I love the idea of just giving yourself that permission to adjust it and not expect yourself to rise to something that you might not finish. Like the last thing you want to do is put all this effort into getting the fabric and to piecing these blocks, then have it sit in your whip pile for years, right?
right,
Like come up with a solution. Maybe you turn it into a baby quilt and it
totally.
becomes something or a wall hanging.
Or wall
And
hanging, or
and
pillows, or
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Use it. Don't let it
yeah.
sit.
And you can use the graph paper in your quilter's
To
planner.
plan it out.
Do
Exactly.
you have, wait, now I have to look. Okay, there are. So this is last year's quilter's planner. And so we have all the blocks. And
Yep.
so,
So
um,
if you flip
I
to
was
the
going to yell at me,
last,
but you can cut these out. You can cut the page, cut them
well,
out and
there's a
stick them on
coloring
graph paper.
page, Kitty. If you
Oh, is
flip
there
to
also a
after,
coloring
yeah,
page?
yeah, flip to the page after your section where we talk about the layout and the final assembly, and there's a whole separate coloring page where people can color it and come up with a plan on their own of what they want to do. So
Okay.
cut it out, flip it over to another project planning page and make some plans.
Right. Yeah, move the
There you go.
blocks around.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Okay, let's talk about the 2025 planner.
Mhm.
It is planner season. We are in the thick of it. It's almost Christmas. Uh, yay. Now, I have to say I have my matching one as well. I picked that
That's
cover, but we have 24 covers to pick from this year. It's kind of a lot. Uh,
I know. I'm a big fan of this one. I mean, obviously I'm biased because I took all these photos. So
yeah.
I, I love this one. It feels like very calm and soothing. And so
Hmm.
it's also fun that they're snap in. And then of
Yeah.
course tried and true rainbow. Like I
Yeah.
will always pick the rainbow if I have a choice. But the fact that I could snap them in, I can change them with the
It's such
season
it's
if I
such a
want.
great thing, and I'm so glad that we were able to work out how to do that last year and
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
that forward this year because certainly makes making the books easier. We can get the covers prepared ahead of time and then get them ready to just pop right on the planner right before we send them out. Um,
And the tabs
the
back in.
tabs, oh my goodness, what a journey that was trying to get those worked out. We printed them in-house. We went through a lot of toner. We went through a lot of parts fixing my little printer, and it was a workout horse. I was printing for several weeks in a row to get 4,500 times 15, so 4,500 planners or planner dividers printed. That's a lot. It was like 6 boxes, took it to my binder, and he has this really awesome machine that automatically like laminates them, and then he can custom set the curves of the size of the tab that you want, and he
Okay.
was able to custom cut them to the because they're not a full half inch. I wanted to make them just a little bit smaller. Anyway, I'm happy, so happy with how they turned out, and yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, it's been a journey. I think that's something that a lot of people might not realize is how much work goes on behind the scenes to
So
make a
much.
printed product. And that's,
Yeah,
I appreciate your diligence
thank
in
you.
exploring options and, there's going to be growing pains when things
Yeah,
switch and stuff, but I feel like the 2025, right? That's what year is next
yeah,
is whatever year it is. This is why I need a planner so that I
right,
know.
right. Yeah, exactly.
Um, but I feel like it's back to, I
Back
would
to
say,
what we
almost
were able to do
higher
in
quality, more
2023.
durable than it's been before,
I
which is
I think I agree with that because some of the changes that I ended up having to make last year was because like the cover from before wasn't as durable. It was coming apart in the corners for some people. And I wanted to create a new cover that was fully sealed around the outer edges
right.
and that it would be interchangeable so that if people wanted to use their cover from year to year, or if they wanted to switch it out based on their mood or what they, design they liked, that was a big win from last year. Obviously, we had other losses because I had used a different printer, but by bringing the production in-house this year, I was able to make those choices of I got to pick the paper that I wanted. I got to, determine my own timeline for the most part. Still am working with, timeline of other people that I can't
Right.
control, i.e. the binder, but being able to coil bind them in-house and print their guts in-house and put it all together allows me to still offer the customization options. If,
Right.
if I wouldn't have been able to make those choices by bringing the production in-house and I had to print with somebody else or have someone else fulfill the orders, I wouldn't be able to offer all of that. People would have like one planner choice, which just
That's
we've
how it
learned
was
over the
6 years.
years.
Right. But
10 years ago,
long
but
time ago.
people don't want that now. We know that. We know that
Yeah.
2/3 of our customers want Monday or a Sunday start and a third want Monday start. And we
Yes.
know that people want
Oh,
all the options. So
I remember
important.
those years. Remember the years where we would alternate each year? So like
Yeah,
one year,
right.
half the people were angry, and then the next year, the other half were angry. It's like, oh, how can we make it for
Yeah.
everyone? So you
And
figured it
then it's true. And the funny part too is we did a poll and we asked how many of you want it Sunday and how many of you want it Monday? Well, the amount of people that returned the poll, it was 50-50. Well,
out.
the
Yeah.
number, and it's funny because the Monday people responded in droves because they wanted the Monday. The reality is the numbers show that it's a two-third, one-third split. But the Monday people just responded to the survey more. So,
Oh,
isn't that
interesting.
interesting? Yeah.
That is
So,
interesting. I mean, I'm
anyway,
on Team Monday start.
and I'm
I
team
like
with Sunday.
having
So,
I like having the weekends together because I'm still very much like school year weekends. And so having the weekends, I like to be able to see the weekend all in one go instead of having to flip the page because otherwise I forget, like I don't know what's
yeah,
happening. I forget things.
yeah.
Uh, I just found a
This
page that I
is,
haven't seen before.
yes.
It's the monthly project tracker where and the yearly project tracker where this is like Quilt Your Life
Yes, it is. I thought of you.
Amanda,
I
right?
know.
And then
This
if you
is
have a project that's
all of
for the
you.
year, you
I made that one
cool.
for you, Kitty.
Ah, thank you.
I had
Thank you.
your projects in mind. But flip to the previous page. Recently, you have used the
Yeah.
version of that in a different way. So we
Uh-huh.
love 100-day challenges, just in general. They're so fun. But tell
I'll
us
show you.
about how you used this in a different way.
So one of the things that has come into and out of the planner was remember there used to be lots of different shapes of graph paper.
Yes, which we
I was
offer
looking.
free on the website now.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I should
Yeah.
consider.
Yeah, they're
I was
still on
looking
the
for the
website.
hexagon graph paper. I realized that's not like an all the time thing, which is fine. But I saw this and I was like, I want to plan an English paper piece taxi project This is perfect because I can plan out my color placement. I had a foundation paper piece, surfer in the middle. So I sketched that
I
in,
love
get
it.
a scale for all of that. Yeah, I mean, well, you know me. I'm a big advocate of using tools however you want. Like just because it's intended for one use, if you need it a different way, make it work for you. So, but yeah, that was great. That was a
That's
lifesaver
awesome.
right there. Instead of having to go like print more hexagon paper or like draw it out, or it really helps me to visualize it. So that was
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome. That's so great. Yeah, th those years where we had extra room to run all the different types of graph paper, I know they were super helpful. Um, I had to make a decision on page count, you know. So,
Absolutely.
but that's why we offer all of them. So we have multiple different kinds of dot paper, graph, hexi, um, equilateral triangles, equilateral dots, uh, like on point graph paper. There's like 10 options. There's a lot on
Oh,
there.
cool.
So, yeah, yeah,
Good to know.
yeah.
I
Good
should
to
I
know.
should scope out your free printable section.
Thank you. Yes, we'll be adding more for sure. Okay, couple other features I want to point out to people this
Yeah.
year is the fact that we added a coloring page at the beginning.
I'm
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
the tech.
and the page markers. Okay, I have to tell you those page markers. I over the course of making covers, laminating to cutting them on the Glowforge, our laser cutter that we have to make the pronged edge,
Mhm.
um, inevitably there are pages that just we can't use. Either they get a bubble right in the middle, or there's a printing dot on the back side that we like can't use on accident. I have a stack of oopsies. And I'm like, I hate letting stuff go to waste, right? Like all of the sheets that as I was working through my printer's problem, I have an entire box of cardstock prints of the dividers that I don't want to throw away. I'm giving them to a friend of mine who's an art teacher, and she's going to use them in her preschool for art. But the laminated pages, I was like, I have to come up with a way to use these because I don't like throwing things away. And I came up with the idea of making these little bookmarks. So I will put them on the Glowforge. I will not cut out the spot that I like can't use, but everything else that's still usable, I cut out into these little bookmarks that I'm able to just throw in every order. And
You know,
it's a
I
great
love
way
them
to
even more
use.
now. It's like an environmental, like sustainability.
Yes,
Like
it's true.
I love that. That's
That's great.
awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I hope everybody loves them. I try to include, two different options for than what people have on their cover so they can enjoy just using it throughout the book. So,
Yeah.
anyway, all right. So, the we added the swap planner back. That's in
Mhm.
the back of the project section.
Mhm.
Um, we added, oh, I
Oh, the
added,
color. I think I interrupted your
no,
coloring
it's
page.
okay. The coloring page. I'm excited to color
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
That'll be fun. Um, I also added an extra page of the in the back of the pattern section. I'm really excited to use this. Oh, I didn't add an extra page. My bad. Just this is not new. We had it last year, but I don't know how many people use it. It's the pattern catalog. I'm one for like writing down everything that I own. It's bad. But I like the idea of being able to remember the patterns I've bought over the years and where I have them stashed in my room because I lose them and then I forget that I have this awesome pattern that I want to make. So this allows you to kind of at a glance see what you have if you're sitting down wanting to start something new.
That's
So
smart.
yeah,
I think that's really smart.
yeah,
And I love that you also include storage location so you can write
right,
where it
right.
is. These are the patterns I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Um,
Good.
so part,
Yeah.
so um, the other thing in that section that we decided to add. Last year we included the an image of all of the blocks in the block library on our website. But I thought, why am I making people do an extra step? Let's just include the entire instructions for every block in the pattern in the planner itself. So
Yeah.
there's the same block library page, but now we have all the instructions. for how to make those blocks.
Awesome.
So anyway, yeah.
That.
And then if you want to use those blocks, we have all the patterns in the pattern section. So
Yeah, I like the additions for the pattern section. Like things that you might use with your planner or like a project bag and a pencil pouch and a planner cover. And yeah, I
yeah,
think that's great. And then
thank
a
you.
bunch of blocks. So if you are really missing the block of the month, you can make a block a month.
You can make your own. Yeah.
The blocks are
Or
there.
pick
Yeah.
your favorite block to put on your new planner cover.
Right.
Surprisingly, there's already somebody in our Facebook group who has made the planner cover from the planner section for their 2025 planner. There's already someone who's done
There.
that. Of course there is.
I love it.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so this planner cover is one that we used to have on our website, but we've adjusted the dimensions so that it fits this new 7 by 10 page that we changed to last year.
Hmm.
And then at the end of it, if you want to take it to the next level, we have a couple variations that you can download from our website, some of which you designed,
The original
the
from
original.
that was 2017, I think. Or maybe even 2016. That was a long time
Yeah, it
ago.
was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
I
have
still have
that.
that. I still have that planner cover somewhere. I think
Well,
it's I know where it is. I think it's probably too big, right? Because I was an 8 by 10 planner that year.
so because we're now back to 7 by 10, it will probably still fit a little bit. It might just be a little bit too loose on the sides, but from top to bottom, it will fit. But anyway,
I might have to find it.
yeah, the adjustments though to the main pattern have been made so that you can make it and it will fit. Um,
Cool.
and so the simplified version, you can make the version with flying geese that Sarah came up with.
Mhm.
Your Rite of Color pattern version. There's a really intense foundation paper piece version with little
I
flying
remember
geese
that
that
one.
go around, the Star Blazer. So there's some options if people want to really get crazy about it. So anyway, I'm really happy with how things turned out.
Yeah, you
I
should be.
hope
It looks
people are
great.
happy
It's
as
great.
well. Oh, and the pocket. We added the pocket back.
Yep.
The back.
That's useful. That's where my stamps live.
Oh,
So that whenever the kids need to mail something, do you have stamps? Yes, I do. And I know exactly where they are. Right in the back pocket of my planner.
awesome.
Or in the zipper. Do you still have the clear zipper pouches that clip
Yes.
in?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have one of those too in another planner because I save. I feel like we're in that limbo zone where I'm actively using two planners at once.
Right.
I'm
It's hard.
using
Yeah.
2024 and also using 2025 because anything that gets planned now is for 2025.
Right. But you're still working out of projects. Yeah, I get it.
Oh,
I get
yeah.
it.
If we talk about the projects, I still have projects oh gosh,
Yeah, many
he's one of
years.
the originals.
But, a lot of people use their planner as a scrapbook. They take notes throughout the year. They keep it on their shelf. It's easy to get to, so they
Oh,
can pull that out and
yeah.
work it on.
I keep mine, well, because I use the daily planner so much, it's very much a chronicle of my life. I can see when things happened and project ideas and sketch ideas that I've sketched and that kind of thing. So I still have all of my planners from that original teal, fully cardboard, like really tight spiral
Uh-huh.
planner.
All the
Yeah,
way through to now. Yeah, it's so
my
great.
shelf of diaries.
Right. Yeah, and I do want to make a shout out to the fact that we are still able to offer the binder version. So some people have
Oh,
decided that they want to be able to add to their planner. They want to, have a little bit more control of the amount of swatches that they put on their project pages. And so this is a great solution for them. We have a custom 10-inch binder that fits the planner, but it has the slanted D-ring inside, so your pages will always sit nice and flat. And we punch it for you to fit the custom rings. And then we print a custom cover that fits the whole space nicely for whatever
mhm.
cover you decide. And then you can add anything you want. So
Very
anyway,
cool.
these
So
are
many
the
options.
binders that are still yet to go out today. Um,
And
but yeah,
do you have a digital option also?
for the planner.
Anna? Yeah.
Yep.
Which is also, that's another thing that throughout the years has people have asked for and the logistics
Right.
of
Right.
how do you make all of the options available, and you have to figure it out. So
Yeah,
kudos to
thanks.
you.
Yeah, and we have the hardcover version and the paperback version. So if people want to have something that's a little bit more portable or slips into their bag a little bit better, those options are really nice as well. Obviously, they don't have the dividers. I still include a page for that particular divider. It just, doesn't have the cutout
That's
tab. But
yeah,
if that's something that you know, want to try a different version of, we have all those formats. So,
very cool.
yeah. Tell me about what you've been up to lately. I see this beautiful quilt on the back of your quilt wall. Well,
So
tell us the story of
um
this.
I designed the block of the month for Aurifil thread this year,
Oh,
and
I didn't know
I
that.
believe began in March and so ends in March. So we're at the final, you can see we're at the final month. I have one more to sew. I think most people are getting purple next, maybe, and have like 3 more months. And I'm a little ahead because I'm the designer and filming instructional videos and that kind of thing as we
Oh,
go.
awesome. That's
Yeah,
great.
so
I don't know
that's
why I didn't know about this. I would have shared more about it. I'll be
oh,
sure to
that's
share
okay.
some stuff about it.
I mean, it started a year ago. And so it's a thing that Oracle Thread runs, and then it's available through shops, and shops do it's like a thread subscription service. So it's thread,
Mm.
you get a box of thread, the Italian color builders set, and then some shops put together fabric bundles, some just have the thread, but when you get the thread annual subscription, the pattern is like a bonus that comes along with it.
Cool.
But that's been really fun. And that's another, I mean, I employed a lot of the things I kept in mind with the Quilter's Planner design with this one, including like
The
directionality and
colors
color
and
flow and
yeah, love it.
um, but that was fun. So that's been this year. I also recently released a watercolor to quilt on demand class, which is super
Great.
fun and another great way to play with color and design and texture and kind of explore designs and shapes that you wouldn't necessarily eagerly sew into a giant quilt. Like it's a fun way to flex your creativity in kind of like a bite-sized piece because most
Yeah.
of them are, you make a watercolor and then you make a quilt of your watercolor, and it's a really fun technique. So
Yeah.
that's been fun.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
And
And then
that's
you have your Quilt Your Life crew. Remind
yes.
people what that's all about, because that has been ongoing for a while and such an integral part, I think, now to you as a designer and artist.
Yes, I think so. The Quilter Life Crew is my monthly membership group where it originated as a way to support people making Quilt Your Life quilts. So quilts that reflect life in some way. It can be a data-driven quilt. Like I made my running quilt where I earned a strip of fabric every day for a year, color coordinated with the miles that I ran, that kind of thing. Or it can be just reflection based, like I'm going to think about this life event while making this block. It can be
Yeah.
oral, it can be not, it can be the books you read, it can be movement based, it can be mood, like it can, the Quilт Your Life quilts can be anything. So anyway, the membership group initially was created to help support people doing that and brainstorm ideas and bounce ideas off of how to portray data or something that you want to do more of and how to use quilting to help you do that.
Mm.
And it still has that. Like it's a resource. When you join, you have an online resource to all sorts of video lessons and tutorials on planning and design and quilt techniques like improv piecing, foundation paper piecing, English paper piecing, embroidery, like all sorts of video techniques. But it's mostly grown to be just like a really great supportive community of people who show up and support each other in living more intentionally and figuring out how to set ourselves up for success to do more of these things that we love and not beat ourselves up when life intervenes.
Yeah.
So it's both a quilt group and kind of a like powerful support you as a human group.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's such a wonderful group of people. And we have monthly meetings, we have monthly Zoom meetings. So there are people across the world who are members who can join via Zoom. We have informal weekly Zooms that have grown to like have a really solid group who regularly just shows up and you sew or work on and fold laundry, whatever you're working on in that moment, just in community with other
Yeah,
like-minded folks. So yeah, that's
that's so
still
great.
going strong and a wonderful group, and everyone is welcome. Join us. It's
Great.
fun.
Okay. We'll be sure to include some links for people to find out some more about that. So
Awesome.
great. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we've talked about a lot of fun stuff today. Is there anything else that we have forgotten to talk about? Um, I don't know. We covered a lot of things.
There. Is that me stuck or you
Oh,
stuck?
I think I'm not sure.
Oh,
Either
okay.
way.
Now you're back. So
Okay.
the last thing I heard is there anything, and then
Uh,
you go.
uh,
So
sorry. No,
for
it's
that.
okay. I was just going to say, is there anything else that we forgot to talk about of all the things that we were going to chat about? Is there anything else you wanted to mention?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so. I
All
mean,
right.
maybe a shout out to ooh and ah at the photos and the planner
Yes,
because
yes.
because I love taking photos of quilty things in nature and
Did
natural
such a good
things and
job. I
feeling.
love it. Yeah, so when you're flipping through your quilter's planner, you can think of Kitty every time you go to a new month and you realize, oh my goodness, how did she get it? That photo of that lupine. Oh,
You could just take a nice deep
our little
breath
thread.
and feel more relaxed
Yep,
because nature makes everything better.
it's true. Especially when there's thread in it.
Especially when there's thread and
Yeah,
fabric,
and
obviously.
fabric. Yeah.
Obviously.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kitty. I appreciate your time today. I am looking forward to everything that you've got going on and to come in 2025.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always good to hang out and catch up
I
and
know.
talk about the planner. I'm excited to see what 2025 holds too. It's
Awesome.
going to be a good year. It has to be.
Yeah, we've got to
Hear
get,
you.
we have to have a good year coming up.
Yeah, it's time. Last year was a year.
Yeah.
Yep, onward.
Onward and upward.
Onward and
All
upward.
right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.